initiative that's going on here in Milwaukee. So I want to welcome Dan and Sofia this morning. Good morning to both of you.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm great. Dan, maybe you can start out just by talking a little bit about the Scalerator initiative here in Milwaukee, and also chat about how a similar project happened in Manizales, Colombia.
And is happening. So my name is Dan Eisenberg. Many of you know me. I'm leading the Scale Up Milwaukee project, the purpose of which is to show that entrepreneurial growth can be stimulated relatively rapidly in a period of just a few years in a tangible, measurable way by impacting all the different elements of the ecosystem in Milwaukee simultaneously, working with the local stakeholders. And the project is supported by the American Express Open, University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee, which Michael Hosted is part of. It's supported by the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, the Greater Milwaukee Committee, WIDA, which is the Housing Authority. Have I forgotten anybody, Michael? I think those are the main ones.
Yeah, I think you got them all. Yep, those are the main ones.
And I represent the Entrepreneurial Policy Advisors, and also I'm Professor of Entrepreneurship at Babson. So just a word about Scale Up Milwaukee. So I said a little bit about Scale Up Milwaukee, and what we're launching on September 19th, a 2-month pilot Scalerator project, is one of about 7 activities we're running in parallel on different elements of the ecosystem in Milwaukee, to demonstrate to ourselves and to the environment, the community, and the stakeholders in the community that this is a worthwhile activity to invest, to increase the investment of time and effort and resources in, because it really will lead to growth. The Scalerator itself, the 2-month pilot, will focus intensely on the sales and sales management process. It's devoted to companies, or targeted to companies that already have sales. In other words, it's not targeted to companies that are still developing their products. It's targeted to companies that have developed their products or services in the greater Milwaukee region and are selling them. It could be a relatively limited amount of sales, but really have the ambition to grow. That's why it's called Scale Up, to grow what they have. So about 50 to 60% of the activities are going to be related to sales and sales management. Another 30% or so is going to be devoted to a combination of managing the entire complex of money as a venture grows. We call it entrepreneurial finance, but it's more than raising equity capital. It's about managing the whole complex related to cash flow. And the third topic is organization building. Our experience is that these 3 topics are the ones that are typically ignored by early stage entrepreneurs, not at their fault. The teachers ignore or underemphasize these topics. We're bringing in some of the best faculty in the world. They happen to be all from Babson College, including myself. There will be 4 of us all together. There will be homework assignments. There will be mentoring in between. This takes place 4 2-day workshops, and so we invite you to apply. And you do so by going to the website scaleupmilwaukee.org, correct?
That's right.
Or it's hard to spell, SUMKE.com. So with that, I'd like to talk with Sofia a little bit about and I was involved, of course, as the leader of the Manizales Ecosystem Project as well. What are some of the lessons that we learned, and what were some of the outcomes for the entrepreneurs who took part in the Manizales version of the Scalerator?
Sure. Well, thank you for inviting me into this conversation, Dan and Michael. First of all, before I start going into some of the lessons learned, I want to just clarify that in Manizales, we started the process of having this pilot program already about a year into the program. So the lessons that we learned in Manizales came after we had already worked with the ecosystem and we had already started a significant amount of capacity building with the stakeholders. So there are some differences in terms of the results that we were able to achieve. But just to give you an idea of what exactly we were able to achieve in the Manizales Mass program, approximately we have 12 participants, 12 entrepreneurs in the
Companies.
program. And, I'm sorry?
Companies and their teams, yes.
Yes. Yes, 12 ventures and their teams. And on average, they were able to achieve 24% growth, which is in part very much related to the program. Of course, there's never a direct correlation there, but compared to previous years, we did see that that growth was significant. A lot of them also achieved, well, in total, they had 31 new clients, or clients that had already been their clients and stopped being their clients. 3 of them achieved financing, and in total, they created 35 new employment opportunities. So, did you want to say something, Dan?
To clarify,
Oh, there you go.
where this
Dan?
24%,
I stopped hearing you.
the 24% growth that we saw of these 12 ventures, does that mean that the skeptic would ask, okay, so one venture, one of the 12 grew a lot, and the other ones didn't grow? Is that the case?
Actually, no. 11 of the 12 entrepreneurs in the program grew in sales.
Okay. And
So
when you talk about financings, what kinds of financings are you talking about?
So in this case, the financing was from banks. Throughout the whole program, the local banks were very much engaged, and they visited entrepreneurs. They engaged in one-to-one mentoring with all of the entrepreneurs in the program. And as a direct result of the program, 2 of them actually received financing.
And my understanding is that there's several more that are in the process of due diligence for additional bank financings.
Yes, that is currently the case.
Sofia, is it fair to say that the banks saw this as a way of, well, if you had to choose, were the banks doing this for corporate social responsibility purposes, or because they saw this as a new way of expanding their business?
Right, absolutely not to that first question, Dan. I think these stakeholders are very much self-interested in the program because, of course, they saw an opportunity to increase their clientele and those that were clients as well to expand and grow with them. And I think that's one of the most important things in the ecosystem approach, is to understand that all stakeholders have their own self-interest at hand, and it has to be that way in order for those stakeholders to provide the best of the best services to these top entrepreneurs.
Sure, which isn't to say that they don't care about the community, but to make it stick, to make it self-sustaining, it's based on their benefiting themselves or their institutions.
Absolutely. Sure, it's a win-win. It's a win-win.
Sofia, if you could try to explain, 24% growth in 4 months is phenomenal, and I think, of course, it's, as you said, it was preceded by a whole year of very intense work with all the stakeholders. So the banks were ready, for example, when the program started. That's not the case in Milwaukee. The project just started a couple of months ago. But I think it would be very interesting if you could explain, what is your hypothesis about how that growth took place so quickly with those ventures? Mm-hmm. What is it they learned? For example, just an example of what is it they learned that allowed them to grow so quickly?
Well, I think, like you said, the ecosystem approach had already started. The stakeholders in Manizales were already aligned in the same direction, understood the importance of this program to both increase the sales growth of these entrepreneurs, but also to learn about the ecosystem and to increase the interactions among the stakeholders. So already from the very beginning of this program, we had a lot of the local partners engaged in trying to help the entrepreneurs grow as well. But from the entrepreneur's perspective, I think that one of the things that was very powerful was the focus on sales. So to focus intensely, about 60% of the program, the training program, was on sales. And that not only helped the entrepreneurs to change their mindset, but also had a very tangible goal for them in the end, and that was to grow their sales. That was the whole messaging that we had in this program, and it was a very powerful one. It was a very powerful one. That was coupled with homework assignments that they did on sales, so that whatever they learned in the program, they could then apply to their businesses. And we had one-on-one mentoring from the faculty professors at Babson, specifically regarding this homework. So it was both didactic, but also very practical. That was very helpful for them.
Just to comment, the faculty resource who led the activities regarding sales in the program in Manizales is the same faculty member, Professor Vinny Oniyama, who's coming for the 2 sessions of the 4 in the Scale Up Milwaukee pilot Scalerator. He just published a couple of months ago a very interesting article in the Harvard Business Review. He's probably one of the world's experts, not probably, he is one of the world's experts in entrepreneurial sales, how entrepreneurs build up their initial sales. The title of his article was probably mistitled, but things that every entrepreneur gets wrong. But it's all about selling. And one of the mistakes that he says that entrepreneurs make is not going back to those customers who say no. And I think in the Manizales project, one of the things we taught them and we learned was it's okay to go back to customers who rejected you. And that list is for everybody. It's a very long list by nature. And to learn how to approach them, the ones that have rejected you, by listening and consulting with them. And that, I think, was one of the low-hanging fruits that converted very quickly into new revenues. Well, I think we're done.
Absolutely.
Do you think there's anything that we need to add that we missed that potential applicants to the pilot Scalerator on September 19th in Milwaukee might want to know?
I also think I would emphasize that peer-to-peer mentoring was crucial, and for those applicants to the Scalerator program in Milwaukee, they should know that part of this program is also built around that teamwork and that peer-to-peer mentoring that in Manizales proved to be extraordinarily beneficial.
Okay,
in terms of increasing their growth, expanding their networks, and also helping each other out throughout the process. It's a very, very intense program.
Okay, well, so Michael, I think we're about ready to wrap up. Is there anything that you think we missed that applicants or potential applicants who already have some revenues but want to grow like crazy in the Milwaukee region, what we need to tell them about the Scalerator?
No, I think you guys have covered a lot, and I think it's really important for applicants who might consider the Scalerator project here in Milwaukee to see that similar programs throughout the world are having success. And it's one of those things where if applicants have questions, they can certainly submit those to scaleupmilwaukee.org, and we can always have another one of these hangouts and answer some of those questions from companies who might have questions about the application process. So, and to that end, I want to remind people that if you do want to apply to the Scalerator, please visit www.scaleupmilwaukee.org, and you'll find all the information there that you need in order to apply to the Scalerator program. I want to thank Dan Eisenberg and Sofia Stolberg for joining us here this morning to talk about the Manizales Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Project. And again, a big thank you to our partners in the Scale Up Milwaukee initiative. That's American Express Open, the Greater Milwaukee Committee, the City of Milwaukee, WIDA, Entrepreneurship Policy Advisors, the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, and the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Dan and Sofia, thanks so much for your time today and for joining us.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Sofia.
Thank you.
All right, take care.